A few years ago, Facebook Marketplace was one of the easiest places to make money online. You could literally list products from Amazon, Walmart, or other retail suppliers. You could price them competitively and watch the orders literally just roll in, 10, 20, sometimes 50. It was really unusual how easy it was. For many sellers, Marketplace was literally generating tens of thousands of dollars per month, myself included. Now, fast forward to today, and that, same playbook, it feels completely broken. It doesn't work anymore, okay? Listings, if you do that, they're going to sit with no views. Your messages from other buyers are going to dry up. Sellers who once dominated the platform are, now lucky to see like one or two sales per week, or, lucky to even see a sale per day, right? So what happened, right? Did buyers just disappear? Did Facebook kill Marketplace? Did dropshipping suddenly stop working there? The answer is no. Actually, Facebook didn't lose demand. They changed how demand got distributed, okay? And I've been looking into this, for the past 2 months or so pretty severely to try to figure out what was going on and where that attention shifted. Did they just give up on it? And the distinction really explains everything with how they actually pivoted and what they started to notice and what they started to allow and reward and what they didn't, right? Facebook Marketplace didn't die. It just changed. Early Marketplace was essentially a search engine that suggested literally everything relevant under the sun. Buyers searched Facebook Marketplace and it showed them a lot of different listings that were relevant to what they searched for or relevant to what they wanted. And Facebook tested suggestions, right? They collected user buyer behavior overall. And that was obviously a goldmine time for us because we could list everything, get it suggested to tons of people, and rake in the sales. The system made retail dropshipping incredibly profitable because sellers didn't need trust, they didn't need branding, they didn't even really need good logistics, they just needed availability and products, right? But as Marketplace grew, Facebook ran into a serious problem, and overall, as more and more dropshippers just flooded in, buyers didn't trust it. Late shipments, cancellation, retail packaging from, familiar places like Amazon, inconsistent experiences started to damage the platform overall. And Facebook did what every other marketplace eventually does. They optimized for buyer trust, not seller volume, right? And that is where everything shifted. Now I'm going to go more into what I found overall in the silent algorithm shift here in a second, but I actually covered this before like diving deep into it in a video like 2 years ago after it kind of died. So I will drop that video in the description below if you want to obviously check it out. I think that does a really good job because I'm saying the same thing, which was my thesis back then, essentially, of like they were testing, and then they figured out what worked and what didn't, and what was, obviously driving people off the platform, and then they optimized for that, right? So again, check that out as well after this. That will also put a little bit more perspective on it. But again, essentially, the algorithm shifted and they didn't tell anybody, okay? So around 2022 to 2023, roughly, Facebook Marketplace made several quiet changes that were critical, but they didn't tell anybody, okay? So distribution of your actual products and what you're listing became trust-based, okay? Listings are no longer shown equally across the board. Facebook now heavily favors sellers with low cancellation rates, fast, predictable delivery, consistent tracking. And one thing that I've noticed as well is they do actually favor when your tracking numbers originate from where you actually say you are, right? So that can obviously, it's not like they ban dropshipping, like you're not able to do it. Your tracking numbers are always coming from a similar location or similar state. They tend to reward that a little bit more as well. Also, strong message response behavior. This is something that I talked about again before I even had proof of it in the past. Like I noticed anecdotally, like if you started to respond to messages faster and respond to messages without like leaving them on read for a while, you would get more awareness in the algorithm with your listings, right? Buyers would, it was almost like a snowball effect. You respond to a message, you'd get more. And that was because they're starting to realize that you're responsive and you're trying to sell things and you're not just listing things willy-nilly and then collecting money without caring about the customers, right? If your account doesn't hit these signals, then your listings might still be active, but they really won't be surfaced or seen by anybody, right? And that's why Facebook Marketplace feels dead to people that are just listing up eBay things or Amazon things, leaving and hoping that they're going to get dropshipping sales because you're not doing those things, right? So dropshipping signals became a ranking penalty in a lot of ways, okay? Facebook didn't ban dropshipping, and in fact, you're still not banned. You're allowed to do it technically on the platform, right? They just de-ranked those listings when they followed those trends that kind of show those patterns, right? So patterns that are going to trigger suppression are going to include retail to retail fulfillment, right? So if you're just using like tracking numbers from Amazon, for example, which a lot of people did in the past, that's obviously going to bury your listings and your seller profile overall when you start to list new things. Long or inconsistent delivery windows, obviously a big red flag. Frequent stock cancellations, big red flag and going to kill your metrics as well. And tracking numbers that, like I said, don't match the seller location where the origin is from. And that's why when you're using something like, even if you are using Amazon now, which I don't necessarily recommend, you want to pivot a little bit. What you should do is you should use TrackTaco, which is a software I've talked about dozens of times in the past. I'll link that video in the description as well for you. One of the cool things about TrackTaco is you can actually choose where you can look at all the UPS or FedEx packages going to that state and that location in that city. And you can also pick and see the origin. So you can pick one that originates from your state as well. And that's really going to help you overall too. But most sellers weren't banned. They were just quietly buried, like I said. And the third thing that I've noticed is marketplace shift from national to local first. Okay. So it went kind of more back to like a Craigslist-y feel or like an online garage sale type of feel. And Facebook realized that marketplace works best when it's feeling like you're buying from somebody that's local with you in person, even if you're shipping or they're shipping it to you, right? They started boosting local looking sellers, people that didn't look like they were stock images, that like took it almost like unprofessionally and listed it like that. Bulky, practical items, stuff like that. Products that buyers, are expected, and there's more advantage to sourcing them locally because oftentimes they're more expensive to ship, stuff like that. A lot of home goods, stuff that you use around your house, that tends to do well as well. It's no longer a discovery engine. It's more of like a local commerce utility. And demand didn't disappear. It just moved, right? People didn't stop buying online. They didn't stop buying on Facebook Marketplace. In fact, like my wife, people buy from there all the time. They look on there for things that they can use like almost secondhand. And you just need to understand that buyer psychology now. Instead of listing like new things from Amazon with stock pictures, like little trinkets and gadgets that you find on Amazon, that's not going to work for you. Instead, what you want to do is you want to put up listings that look like they're selling locally, that are, people are going to source from their community around them because they don't feel like going out to get them themselves, and they're just going to show up on their doorstep, right? So I'm going to give you several examples here in a second, but that should start getting you thinking, People buy differently now, right? So they use TikTok Shop often for discovery because they're on there as well. They use Amazon for trust, speed, certainty, all those things, and brand stores for brands that they're, that they have like an affinity to, that they like, that they want to represent. And marketplace overall is nowhere longer where people are going to browse for everything. It's where they're going to buy things that feel local even when they're shipped, like I said, right? That's why the old dropshipping model collapsed, and that's why you can't really use it anymore, okay? So some things that they're going to boost today that you can obviously get good visibility on are things with a local presence, things with predictable fulfillment, so 5 to 7 days max, low cancellation history overall on your profile, don't cancel orders, realistic non-retail photos, practical products, not trendy products, not gadgets, stuff like that. And that's why local flippers and, people that are doing like arbitrage still do pretty well on the platform. And products that are going to work are going to feel like you can buy them from a local person and that like somebody else is just listing them secondhand from their house, right? So things like furniture, storage and organization. One of the things I sell frequently now, the shelves, like the 5-tier shelves, those fly off the shelves for whatever reason. Fitness equipment, pet stuff, baby stuff, so like secondhand cribs, right? Stuff like that, garage stuff, outdoor items. Those products are bulky, right? And people don't necessarily want to go out if they don't have a truck to go pick them up or lift them. If, obviously like they don't feel like lifting a heavy box or something like that. They just want to show up on their doorstep, right? Those are what feel native to the platform now that are going to do well. And you don't just have to stop there, but that's typically where you want to build the heart of your store and the foundation, because that's going to not just get you sales, but it's also going to showcase your other listings to other buyers, right? So can you still dropship on Facebook Marketplace? Yes, but not in the old way. Pure retail to buyer dropshipping is what killed marketplace, right? And that's what's going to kill your profile if you start listing that way. What does work is like the hybrid reseller model, right? Where you control the fulfillment, you ship under your own labels, or you're dropshipping using a supplier that's obviously dropshipping fast, and you're listing stuff, like I said, that feels native to the platform, feels local. You keep delivery times tight and you minimize cancellations. Don't cancel orders, right? From Facebook's perspective, then you're obviously going to look like a small local reseller, not a drop shipper, okay? So the main takeaway here is that Facebook Marketplace didn't break. It didn't dry up sales. It just grew up and kind of shifted a little bit. You can't just list a ton of unlimited listings now from Amazon or eBay or Walmart or anything like that. You can't overlook trust. You can't overlook messages. You need to obviously communicate. What you want to do is control the listings, control your volume, make sure that your fulfillment is reliable and fast, and list products with the examples like I said and stuff like that. And sellers who adapt can still make decent money here, right? Now, you're not going to be a millionaire. You're not going to make $20,000 or $50,000 a month like you potentially could in the past, but there's no reason you can't make $1,000 to a few $1,000s on this platform a month if you're doing this, right? And it's a good side hustle, in my opinion, that you can still kind of get away with. Now, I did do a recent like a retail drop shipping on Facebook Marketplace, like how you can kind of make it look like this tutorial. I believe it was like a month ago, so I will drop that in the description as well. But the end takeaway here is you could do two-step drop shipping, which again I will show you in that tutorial. Dropship arbitrage, as I like to call it, with review images, right? So it doesn't look like you're listing stock photos, and then make sure that you have reliable suppliers with good prices that feel like they're local, like I said with those other categories and examples, or drop ship directly, but again, use reliable suppliers that ship fast and all that stuff, right? Definitely doable. All right, so again, tutorials and all those videos that I referenced linked. Really hope it helps, but that's just my anecdotal experience and what I've seen dropshipping on the platform now for, again, probably like 5-6 months now. It's not what it used to be, but it's definitely a decent side hustle.